Hi, I'm Zachary Cook,
And hey, I'm JC Goldman.
and you're watching MTG Training Grounds. Today we're going to be playing Legacy. I'm going to be playing Infect, and JC is going to be on Grixis Delver. We're playing this in preparation and somewhat to showcase Legacy decks for the upcoming Huntsville Legacy Tour at the Deep Comics and Games. So I'm playing Infect. It's sort of a combo slash aggro deck featuring the Infect mechanic from new Phyrexia, and it combines some of Legacy's most broken, if you will, free spells in Gitaxian Probe, Force of Will, and the namesake is probably Invigorate. It's probably the most powerful card in the deck. It really allows the deck to just go berserk, which is also the next piece of the combo. The berserk berserk is a 1-mana instant that doubles power, so that combined with any other pump spell can make a lethal kill in one hit, thus making it sort of a combo deck. And JC, you're playing Grixis?
And I'm playing Grixis Delver. I am a Delver fan overall.
Yep.
I like Grixis best currently. I think, frankly speaking, when I play a Delver deck, it's a tempo deck. I like the reach of having a red card. I like to have lightning bolts to go to the face, go to your creatures if you need it. Infect's definitely not my favorite matchup. It's a combo matchup that's a little bit more challenging. I prefer maybe a more standard combo matchup where I can just board in all the Cabal therapies and go crazy.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's a good competitive matchup. I'm excited for it, and frankly, I expect it at the next Legacy tournament.
Yeah, so these are two of Legacy's premier decks. I don't know if I guess they're probably both tier 1, at least 1.5. It's the type of decks that if you ever go to a Legacy event, you will see them. You'll probably play against them, especially if you get enough rounds into the event, and it's worth knowing how they work.
Yep.
Right. All right, we're here for round 1. Do a sevens game.
Sure. I don't know what that
First roll 7 loses. First roll 11 wins.
Okay.
So I've got a 7, I lose.
Sweet. I'll take it. I'll be on the play.
All right.
This is a speculative keep, but I will keep playing a Delver deck. I know my opponent, because we watched each other throughout the tournament, is playing on Infect, so I think it's a keep. I think it's a good keep.
This hand's actually great. I would keep this
Oh,
against
geez.
anything.
Well, that makes my hand feel much, much worse. But I will start off on the Singleton Tropical Island and lead with a Death Right.
Sure thing. All right. All right. So, got these two options. In general, if you don't have like a turn 2 kill or a combo kill like super fast, or if you're playing against a deck that you suspect can interact with it, which at this point I can put him on Shardless Sultai Delver, or there's a slim chance he's on Grixis Delver because of there's a 1-of Tropical Island usually, so he's going to be able to interact. And any of those decks can. Shardless is less so, but any of the other ones can easily daze or whatever. So I'll lead out on a Trop myself and a Noble Hierarch and send it back.
So Noah's good. We would have obviously preferred to have seen him play a fetch land there, but we didn't. You may wonder, didn't play this first turn. Frankly, looking at the rest of our hand, there was no need to. It doesn't affect what our first turn play was going to be, and it's important to have it when we need it. So we're comfortable with that. We're going to go on tap, draw. It's a frightening draw, but we have to. Good question. I'm not a great Magic player. We're going to find out here. But it's obviously between these two. I go here to go one deeper, which actually is what I do think I want to do. And I can tell nobody else plays Noble Hierarch.
Yeah,
unless there's that new Legacy Pod deck.
Well, some of the Bat decks do, but this should be like 95% of the time you put them on Infect.
Not to be a hater, but I'm not worried about the Bat deck.
Sure, yeah,
too. So I am going to probe Paying Life. I'll go to 18.
And we've got Inkmoth, a Foothills, Ponder Elf, Pierce Vines.
Which is a solid hand. All right, so we have 2 threats.
Yeah, land and elf.
Shaking the tail.
Oh, you're good. Doesn't shake too bad.
I never good hand.
Yeah. And my draw was Ink Moth.
Oh, good. That's brutal.
So yeah, the hand was really solid.
We are a Wasteland deck, so we're pretty okay. Maybe more okay than most against an Ink Moth.
Sure.
But we're not happy to see that Vines. Okay, so we're going to draw off the probe.
Yep.
All right, that was actually a really good probe because now I don't have to play this, which scared the dickens out of me because I didn't want to get locked. So we're going to play this instead. So we're going to ponder.
Sure.
And good thing we did. And as much as this is a good hand and it does give us a threat, we have to ship it back because we're just digging for land because we took one lander. So. Delver, Ponder, Brainstorm was pretty good 3 on top. If you had played a fetch land, we would have been okay. But,
right.
We know we're at least 2 turns away from our opponent playing a fetch land. So.
And it's pretty hard to cast because I know you're on Grixis, I know it's really hard for you to cast a Bold.
Yeah.
But even if I suspected you were on Shardless or Sultai or whatever, Sultai Delver, even then you would be digging for your own land, like you said, knowing that I'm not going to provide a fetch land most likely.
Right, so this was our draw off of the Ponder, which is unfortunate. And we'll he's not going to play up the hills. We're going to battle for 1. There's no reason not to.
All right, I'll take it and go to 19.
And we'll pass turn.
Okay, draw. And yeah, so if he hits a land, especially a fetch land, it makes it way more likely that he can, at this point I could put him on either Sultai or Grixis, and either way he could have Abrupt Decay or Lightning Bolt. So I don't want to leave myself without the vines to protect my threats. So I'll hold the Ponder back. I'll play the Ink Moth, use the Hierarch. You always use the Hierarch first because it's easier to get rid of than the land. Play the Elf.
And so we know he's got a... Typically, obviously, we want to attack his threats, right? If we attack his threats, we don't care about his
Pump spells.
And we've seen his hand.
Good.
I'm tempted to see if we want to force him to waste that Pierce here. So we know he's got Pierce and Vines. Because Vines is going to protect this. Once this is on the board, he's got 2 ways to protect it. So I actually want to try to force that Pierce out of his hand.
Force a will.
So I'm going to force... I'm going to force Pitching Stifle.
Okay.
Which now tells them that we're definitely on Grixis because I pitched Stifle.
Right. I guess there are a few versions, like Jim Davis
Well, I
ran
guess
Stifles,
Probe told you that too. Oh yeah, he ran that.
Now Probe is a little more telling because Sultai doesn't usually run Probe. Because they have Thoughtseize main deck usually. They wouldn't need it. Let's see, what do you have, 5 cards? 4 cards?
We'll have 4 cards after that.
You're at 17? Nah. I don't think this is worth fighting over. After what we drew, it's better to just hold back and leave all of this available. Good.
So he's got that Vines, which is still a problem, particularly if we draw a Wasteland here, which we did not. But
Vines would be good with your Death Right, however.
we're going to give ourselves a chance. We're going to Brainstorm.
Now that, given that he missed a land drop last turn, is worth fighting over.
Yep, and that will, he'll get that. So we got the Pierce out of his hand. Still got to Ponder, Vines, Foothills, and that's all we know.
And the only reason I'm willing to burn a Pierce, reactively here, normally you would save it for something proactive to try and fight whenever you're trying to kill him. But here, because I can tell he's mana screwed, it's better to just use it to keep him that way.
And we'll play our Underground Sea and
Alright.
pass the turn.
So he drew a different land, but in this case, it probably still was right.
And honestly, that's why. So this is stranded here, but we knew it wasn't going to be super great, and we need to get that Pierce out of his hand at some point.
We'll start off with a Ponder.
That's good. Well, at least we can start clocking for 2 a turn.
Alright, so Splinter's alright. We'd like this to be able to use it. And actually this isn't bad either. We don't want this because we've got plenty of land already. But because we have a fetch land, I think, and now that he's got mana, we probably don't have to worry about fetching as much. We can also wait until our own upkeep so he can't use it on his own turn. Yeah, well, that seems great. So we'll leave this that way, draw the probe and play it. Yep. Parabolts and a Force of Will. Okay, so red mana really is the issue. I don't know what's on top of his deck.
Neither do I.
Alright, so we'll draw this one. We'll play our fetch land and attack for 2.
Yep.
Animate.
2 Infect.
Here, I'll keep it on the whatever this is, poison counter token. And that's all I've got. Go ahead.
So in turn, we're going to drain him for 2.
Right.
Off the pot. Don't care. You're not playing Snappers. Probe.
Okay.
So draining helps us in 2 regards here. He's likely still. I'm not a great Infect player. I was pretty good last year, but I'm guessing still probably got 1 Become Immense at least in the deck. So
most decks only run 1 still. I only run 1.
Yeah, we'll take 2 a turn, and we'll definitely take reducing that graveyard size.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So gas. How about gas? So draw for the turn. That's just straight hot gas. It's not gas.
It wasn't a fetch land. I don't believe it.
I'm not sure if I see a lot of that's not true. We'll play it out. Even though it gives them information, we're going to play it out.
Second death, right?
And we'll pass turn.
Alright, so right now I know he's got a Force of Will and a pair of Lightning Bolts. I don't really want to draw the card on top, but at the same time, if I don't crack this fetch land, he can't cast anything. So maybe I will just do it because it's going to cut him out off of a resource. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not even that bad. I can maybe draw a Brainstorm or whatever.
Yeah, frankly, I would have to bolt your Hierarch at that point because I know with the binds in your hand, I'm not going to get to bolt that land anytime soon.
Right.
And you know my hand, so I'm not going to get in a position to be able to bolt that land anytime soon. So I would just take him off of 1 point of poison a turn by taking the Hierarch out while the fetch was on the stack.
So we'll use the Hierarch to animate Inkmoth Nexus.
Yep.
And attack for 2.
Yep.
Put him up to 4. And I think in this case we do want to play out the land because if he draws a wasteland, we want to still be able to animate Inkmoth Nexus. Although that's even going to come with its own line of problems. But regardless, take 2 and go ahead.
All right, and we will eat that Ponder into turn. We have our opponent down to 14, so we are
13. I'm at.
Oh, 13 even better.
Took
All right.
1 from the attack and then.
Oh, I forgot about 1. Yeah. All right, we'll draw for turn. So draw for turn. Life got a little bit better.
Alright, so we found an actual red mana source.
We are gonna ship the turn. Thought about tagging for 1, but I think I want to have the option of doing a couple different things.
Making mana primarily.
Yep. So still not great. We've never drawn a fetch this turn, which is kind of odd. Which doesn't make me feel so bad that our Brainstorm got so pierced.
Okay, so under normal circumstances, this is the draw you want, but here I don't actually think I even want to use it. Yeah, because it just gives him more options or more opportunities to get us. So I'll activate my Inkmoth Nexus and attack, trigger the Noble Hierarch.
Yep. And no effects on my side.
Let's see, 1, 2. Yep. Let him go to 6.
So there's a case where there's obviously asymmetric information. I know 1 card in my opponent's hand. Zach knows
I know
my
your entire
hand.
And I'll send it back.
I'm just going to take 2 for forever. Except for end of turn, I will go ahead and burn a bolt to try to take down the Nexus.
Okay, so he's got 1 lightning bolt.
So this will make him at least burn a counterspell or a vines. It's not great, but you know their hand, and we can't just sit there and take 2 because literally 2 more turns we're dead.
Right, so the vines actually kills him in a turn. I would have killed him this turn, actually.
Yes, it would.
But we didn't have the spare mana. May have been right to play this and use it, actually. But, yeah, we can't let our ink moth die. It's the only threat we've got, so...
He's got a lot of options. He doesn't even have to use the vines. He can just pump it here if you wanted to.
I'll force a will. Toss in a daze.
Okay. So the opponent goes to 12.
One of these.
End turn, we're actually going to eat your creature. You have a creature in the graveyard, right?
Oh, yeah, Glistener Elf.
So we're going to eat a creature and a thing. So we'll go up to 19.
And I'm down to 11.
Our life total obviously does not care.
Not usually, no. So it's 11
or
to...
you should be 10 now, but you should went off the force.
Yeah, I missed that one. So 10 to...
10 to 19.
And 6 poison.
And 6 poison. Yeah, 10 to 6 poison. So our life doesn't matter, but his graveyard side totally does. So we want to get rid of this. Yeah, so he knows our hand. How about some gas or a brainstorm? I think that counts as gas. But we don't. We're in a weird position. Still no lands in any graveyards. We're going to expose ourselves. Oh, sorry. This is what we drew for turn. We're going to expose ourselves. We can cast it and leave up Bolt. Which we know he has the vines in his hand, so we're just dead.
Well, that's only if I go for the bolt, right? Or the vines.
It's only if it goes for vines, that's right.
I think,
so
I think Daze was not a card you knew.
Daze was not, no.
Okay, so
and Force was not. Vines is still the only thing in your hand that I know. Okay. There's no more creatures to eat, so there's no reason to leave both these back unless we think it's going to crack that fetch, which we know there is absolutely no reason for him.
Very hesitant to do thus far.
So this is a good clock. I guess a good block. Yeah, okay. We'll attack for 1.
Sure, mid-9.
Yeah. And I'll pass the turn.
Alright, draw for turn. Yeah, he can't win now.
Yeah.
Right,
I couldn't win when you...
We'll play out the wasteland we had last turn. So this is what I drew last turn and chose not to play it. What I think I should have done is played it and used it to activate the Ink Moth, because I had Force of Will and Daze in hand, and I actually have another blue card. So I could have forced the vines last turn to happen, and when you went for the Lightning Bolt, I had enough counter spells to protect it, and I would have had enough mana to do everything, but because I didn't, of course it doesn't matter now. Animate, attack, Invigorate is the draw for the turn.
So we'll respond to Invigorate with the Bolt.
Right, and then I can Vines without even using it. And like I said, I have a spare blue card in hand, which also does all the work I need.
That one does everything.
Yeah. Alright. So. Alright, we are back for game 2. This hand is fine. Yeah, I'll keep this.
Apparently, you guys are going to get to watch me make questionable keeps all stream long. I'll love to see the... Oh, this is brutal. I mean, this is honestly one of our best cards. We're going to keep this. I would keep this. I'm going to keep it. All right, so here we go.
Kept.
It's kept. We're, unlike the last time, because we've got no business, we are going to go ahead and lead here. So we are going to go ahead and lead on the probe. We'll go to 18.
Alright. You've got one counter spell, Spell Pierce, Gitaxian Probe, a Ponder, a pair of Vines, Rainforest, and a Hierarch.
Alright. So first, one, no, Ponder, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Misty. I'm missing. Oh,
Hierarch.
Probe.
Did you get the Hierarch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. Okay. Excellent. So that's a pretty good hand from our opponent. We're going to draw off the probe with 18, which does not matter at all. Ah, okay. We were rewarded. It's nice to be rewarded. So we're going to start on a Delver of Secrets.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. And we will likely do this next turn.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's a draw.
Oh, crud. Actually, we won't do that next turn.
All right, so I'm almost certainly playing the Hierarch here no matter what. But I'll lead out and see what I'm up against. I'm at 18.
All right, so now that Zach knows, we will not be doing this during upkeep, because as you can see,
We have nothing to
we
set
have nothing
anyhow.
to set.
All right, so the Wasteland means that we're in trouble as far as... Actually, no, we're not in any trouble. Because if we fetch a basic, he can't cast a Lightning Bolt anyway, so he can't take out our single land.
Yep.
I'm not even entirely sure if you would. Yeah, you probably would.
Yeah.
The rest of his hand is a little
Crappy.
thin. Gurmag is a legitimate threat, but outside of that, and he's not anywhere close to casting it yet. All right, yeah, I'll draw. Okay. Knowing what I know, do I play this? You could make an argument for doing it. Well, regardless, we're going to fetch. Just have to decide if I'm fetching my basic forest to play around your wasteland or if I'm willing to let my land get nuked. Really don't like doing that. Yeah, I'll fetch the basic. I can let him wasteland later. Or I say let him. He can try and wasteland stuff later.
If he plays a Glistener Elf here, which is what I'm guessing he's thinking about, we might... Oh, Lord. That might force me to... kind of want to fire this off. I really do. I might be living dangerously to do that. But
I think it's still safer to start like this
okay.
and ship it back. Because now if he finds a Lightning Bolt, I don't have to worry about it because I have the mana to cast it.
Alright, so we are going to... Alright. It's a good thing we didn't brainstorm.
Daze is fine.
We'll take the Daze. Daze isn't great, but it's not bad. He's only got 2 mana that we're aware of. We're definitely grew an elf, but I wouldn't normally know that had he not been commentating. Noble Misty's gone. But we'll take the Daze. Daze is not terrible. We'll go ahead and battle for 3.
Yep, I'm at 15.
And I am going to brainstorm and just pray.
Sure.
Not happy about it, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
And in this case, even if I had fetched a Trop, with him having a Wasteland in hand, I couldn't fight over it anyway.
So this is our draw.
We just waste me before the brainstorm.
That means Zach is going to see this regardless. For lack of a better term, we're locked. Apparently, I don't have fetch lists in my deck. Maybe I'm just playing like 48 cards. So we're going to put...
You still have lands to play.
We're going to put back this guy. He's not coming down for at least another 2 turns. And we're going to put back this one. We're going to... We're not under any pressure next turn.
No, not yet.
Yeah, we're going to put this back. And then we will play... I think I'm actually going to play the C. Yeah. I'm going to play C, because hopefully if we ever draw a fetch in another brainstorm, we can get rid of this Trop, which we just don't need in this matchup, because we don't need to gain life. So we'll probably put it in after board. It matters more. And we'll play
Delver's still good.
And we'll pass turn.
Alright, so know about the days. We have to assume we put back a card that'll flip the Delver. So we're on a 3-turn clock, assuming he didn't find a Lightning Bolt,
18 or 15.
which means we've got a Ponder. Try and find land.
Ponder is good.
Boy, those aren't land, so I think we have to shuffle. Yeah, without it, we can't kill him before he kills us. Like, even if nothing changed, we couldn't win before he would kill us, so. We shuffle here, cross our fingers.
So this is, I think, one of the fun parts of Magic, is the game within the game. We both have pretty good information about each other's hands, and actually because of that, it's benefiting me. He's got to play around days. He's got to play around the Wasteland. Doesn't have blue mana now. 2 blue spells in a turn.
Good. I can't play this card into his gnome.
We leveled him a little bit, and we put the days back. Because we figured you would have to play around it regardless. And so, take that.
So I still have the clock. So really, the next turn or two is all that matters. So 6 damage puts me at 9. Yeah, I basically just get one more turn.
And we know what's on top of our deck. I think we actually will go ahead and brainstorm here.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. Okay, and that might do it. So we're going to put back... We're still... Locked is probably the inappropriate use of the word here, but malapropism, if you will. We're going to put back some stuff that we can't cast. We have a lot of cards in our hand we can't cast. So we're going to put this guy back again. And we're going to put this on bottom of that, because we certainly can't cast that. Yep. And then here we're going to play a Wasteland.
Right.
A little faster.
Alright, so this turn is my last chance to find a land, I think. Well, I guess we have one other out. Play Glistener Elf, and
Unfortunately, Glistener Elf has to resolve because we know he's got the Pierce.
send it
Pay
back.
for our days. So, yeah. Alright, so we just got to live a turn, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to have other stuff available to us, but we're going to play a second Wasteland.
Well, as long as I stay off basics, I should be
We're
alright.
going to battle.
Alright, that leaves me at 3. As long as he didn't find...
I think for protection against... So, I'll say this. Protection against Berserk, we're going to play the Gurmag. Because I don't think he's going to have enough mana. So even though it takes our Wastelands away, we don't care about Wastelands. He can't kill us next turn with the whatchamacallit. And we can untap and kill his Inkmoth if we need to. And the Gurmag absorbs enough that we won't die this turn, so we'll pass.
Yeah, I think that locks me out. I, of course, have 3 counter spells that can't stop a Gurmag.
Miko Invigorate. Yeah.
Nope, that's not
Yeah.
the land I need. I drew an Inkmoth. What I needed, though, because I do have the Berserk and a Vines, but even then the days would get me. I just needed another land. Because, yeah, the 3 counter spells
Oh, good counter.
don't actually counter Gurmag. Otherwise, if I had a Force of Will, I'd have fought over the Gurmag. But even so, missing the land drop is all that matters there.
Yeah. So, what's coming in? Combo deck, blue-based combo deck. Obviously, the green stuff's important, but the blue stuff is the problem. So we're bringing in the Power Blast. We need to fight those counter fights. We're bringing in Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce. Again, we bring that again. Pretty much, this is our package against any blue deck. Oftentimes, we're pulling out our Force of Wills if they're a better counterspell deck than us. So, you know, Miracles, bigger, better counter spells. We're taking the Forces out. He's not. He's not a better counterspell deck than us per se, and he's a one-shot combo deck. So we need to be able to pop that one Berserk, that one Vine. So we're going to keep in the Forces, but we're going to bring in 4 more counterspells. Combo deck, we're going to bring in the Cabal Therapies. This might be wrong, but if it's wrong, I don't want to be right. So we're going to bring in the Therapies. We're going to name Invigorate all day long, and we're going to bring the Needle because it's just a good catch-all.
It's really good against Inkmoth.
Inkmoth, and even Penhaven. I mean, there's value for it. And so we're going to take out the Dazes, particularly, so it's bad, off the base, it's bad against Noble Hierarch. It's even worse now that we're on the draw. So it does come out. And then, frankly, we need to find 4 spots. We're going to take out a Pyromancer because it's our worst threat. Delver, Gurmag. The only other thing we could think about instead of taking out a Pyromancer would potentially be a Deathrite. But I really like that extra mana.
Yeah.
And we know he's got Become Immense. So we want to rip that graveyard if we can. And we, frankly, needed an 8th cut. And so out comes the probe.
Mm-hmm. All right, on my side, because so we're going to start with a pair of Blue Elemental Blasts. In this specific case, JC's list, all of his removals red.
Mm-hmm.
Some Grixis lists run like Dark Blast or a Dismember, which this won't stop. But in his case, I wouldn't know this in a tournament, but in this case, all of his removals red, so this stops literally everything that kills my creatures.
That's right.
Flusterstorm is like JC was saying. Flusterstorm is a better counter spell when you're trying to fight counter wars. And actually, Flusterstorm, if JC doesn't have one, is really good for me. Because I'm the one with all the free spells that can be played at instant speed. So things like Invigorate and, well, I guess that's the only one. But I also have Dazes and stuff like that. can build storm count super easy without paying any mana into it, and you can actually sometimes trap your opponent into a scenario where they're like playing a whole bunch of spells and you can counter everything with one Flusterstorm while your Invigorates and stuff still resolve.
That's right.
Sylvan Library, because I'm on the play. On the draw, I don't think I want this because it's a little too slow. Same thing with Teferi's Response. He's a Wasteland deck, and he'll probably bolt targeting the Ink Moths frequently, but Teferi's Response is also slow on the draw. So both of these cards will come out on the draw, probably for Force of Wills again, just so I have more protection. And then Sylvan Safekeeper, because it is the best answer to any and all removal.
Like, yeah, it's a good card. Yeah.
I played this at GP Seattle, and every time I played against a Delver deck, it was phenomenal.
And I'm sure your opponent read the card.
Oh yeah, they never knew what it was. I run Green Sun Zenith, so I effectively have 2 of them. It's just great. So what we're taking out the forces on the draw. We'll bring the forces back in, but on the play, because we're gonna have the tempo, we want to get rid of them. One of the Dazes, because he does have Deathrite, so Daze is just naturally a weaker card. We want more of them on the play, but on the draw we'll probably swap maybe like these 2 and a Daze for the 3 forces. The Viridian Corruptor's coming out because he's not the type of deck that has artifacts really. Yeah, I play 1 main because it's really good against like Shardless. Like it kills Baleful Strix. It makes Miracles.
Kills Shardless.
Shardless Agent. It also kills Jite against the decks that run it, or Batterskull. And it's nice because with Green Sun Zenith, again, I have 2. Actually, it's even good against Miracles. You can force them to do their top early. Yeah, so your Ink Moth can animate post-Terminus.
I like it.
And then 1 Gitaxian Probe because post-board, I don't really have to know as much what's in his hand. I can really predict a lot of it. And the life can matter because he's sort of an aggressive deck. Like against a combo deck, I might leave it like Storm or something where I need to know, but against an aggressive deck, I can just assume he's got removal and play accordingly.
Right.
All right. We're back for game 3. Look at this hand. This hand is terrible. Yeah, this is absolutely unkeepable. We can cast 2 spells, but we don't even have targets for them, and the rest of this stuff is this hand is just unkeepable.
Unlike our opponent, we will keep this hand. We can definitely lose. There's a lot of holes in this hand. You can see it there.
Oh yeah, they can see it. The resolution's pretty good.
But yeah, if this guy agrees with us, does what he's supposed to, this is frankly a pretty bonkers hand, so we'll keep it.
We're gonna have to see a much better 6 than what we just saw.
It's our first really good hand of the day, which is nice. But you know what? Actually, while Zach's putting his hand out, this is a really good example of what he was just talking about, in that our best hands. And for this matchup, yeah, we would like to have a little bit more something that you can see is not in here. But this is a really strong hand for us, and you can very easily think of other like Delver decks and can have a much better hand than this. So.
Well, this isn't great, but it has, especially that isn't great, but we can probably keep this. The Scry will make a huge, or have a huge impact on what we do. So I guess I'll keep Scry 1. I absolutely do not need that. And I think, honestly, we're just going to play the land and pass instead of doing anything else.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we drew this return. Always, always. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, forever. Play the turn with Delver.
Yeah.
We'll pass. Assuming it resolved.
We'll take our draw. See, that's where we get in trouble. Fetch.
Yep.
Now we're taking a bit of a risk here, but we absolutely have to get a blue mana so that we can.
And that would be an example of where we would love to have this.
Yeah. Because we are going to cast a Brainstorm.
Oh, that resolves. Great example of when we would have loved to have had Daze in our deck.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
All right, so obviously this is not ideal, but I mean, what are we going to do? We have to diversify our hand in case he has Cabal Therapy, so we'll put these cards back, and Play land, good.
Hey, Inkmoth is...
It's better than nothing.
So we're going to trigger our Delver.
Sure.
Delver does flip because life is good.
Wait, now it's really good. We have
And
our
then
spider hand.
we are feeling the love. So we're going to go attack. There's nothing we can do here. So we'll attack for 3.
Alright, so we're at 16, sorry.
And we are going to go ahead and play this probe. I mean, there's something to be said for holding that probe. Nah, we're going to play it. So we'll go to 18 ourselves. Lazily write down his hand. Another Nexus. Okay, so that really does determine what we're going to play. Because we see he has no counter magic right now. So we're playing this card. So we're going to play Nexus, Blighted, Glistener, Invigorate, and Sylvan Guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty interesting one in that he doesn't have any counter magic. He's only got the 1 pump spell. He's got a lot of freaking threats in his hand.
Lots of dudes.
Lots of dudes. So shutting down the Nexus isn't as great as I was hoping it would be. We're going to draw... Did we draw off the... I don't remember if I draw off the... I think I did. Because I don't think I had this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7,
7,
8. No, I did not because I haven't played a land yet. No, but I played this last turn. So yes, I drew off of it. Right?
Started with 7, you would have gone to 5. You drew to 6. No, yeah, you drew.
Because I would start with 8. Because I would draw because I was on the...
Oh, no, you haven't then. You have not. Because you would have had 8, 7, 6, draw for turn, play this. You should still have 7.
Okay, alright, thank you. Alright, so we'll draw for... alright, whatever. That's a card. Alright, so we are still going to play... Now the question is, do we just play... Alright, so we know he's not going to attack us next turn. There's no reason not to go ahead and get this out. He's got a Blighted, a Glistener, so both of those are just going to come down. He's got an Invigorate to protect him. We know he put some stuff back on top when he's afraid of therapy, which he should be. It sounds crazy, but I'm not going to play, I'm not going to keep this up. I'm not going to play this. I'm going to play this and then this, most likely. So I am going to do this. I'm going to play the Ponder.
Okay.
So Ponder 1, 2, 3. That's strong. I'm glad we played the Ponder. So, surprisingly, we're not going to play this turn. We are going... Yeah, we'll take 5 points if we need to. So we're going to put them back, because we want to draw this next turn. We want to put this, we want to get rid of that. So we're going to draw like this. We're going to draw off the Ponder. We're going to waste.
Oh, gosh, that's terrible.
And so this can live another day. I'm going to pass turn.
Good. Play the Inkmoth. That's all we got. Yeah, we're
gonna draw that. He's got that Invigorate, so there's no reason to get fancy here. We are gonna go ahead and play this to play around days. We're gonna attack for 3.
Yep.
I guess
13.
Whatever. Anyway, I guess 13. I'm also a slight sloppy player. I'll admit that. And then we are gonna go ahead and Pithing Needle. Oh, Nikes. I'm gonna keep up this red mana. I apologize. I'm gonna fetch.
Sure.
We know what our top card is, and we don't want it. And then we're gonna play the Pithing Needle off of the Underground Sea.
Sure.
And we'll pass the turn after that. And the Needle's gonna name Nexus, shockingly.
We already know the top card of our library, so we'll draw and pass back.
Oh, bummer. Alright, so this game may hopefully be academic.
Unless my next draw step is real good, it's not gonna matter.
It was not that probe. That early probe was really helpful for us to know that once we shot down that trop, we were in a good spot.
My mold of 6 wasn't great, and Wasteland there is making it a whole lot worse.
This is one thing that I really enjoy about this deck, and it's probably a cliche at this point, but it just punishes decks because it can go so many different angles.
Yeah.
And I like to punish folks. So if you're a sadist, it punishes folks when they skip. And, and you can miss a turn with this deck and still come back, which is nice. All right. I think we're gonna play. There's absolutely no reason to leave anything up. He can't play anything in a turn to get rid of our needle. We're not. I mean, I'm sure if Legacy there might be a card, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. So we're gonna attack for 3.
I go to 10.
And then we're gonna play a Young Pyromancer and pass the turn.
Okay. We need to see a land here, which it wasn't.
So there was no reason to hold up for any of this other stuff in our hand. It's strong. It's great. I mean, there's something to be said for holding it, but
Go ahead.
yeah. Okay, now we are probably in a position. We probably were 3 turns ago. We're probably in a position where we can't lose at this point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I don't hit a land next turn, I can't even begin to compete.
You're 10?
Yeah. Actually, I might be dead this
Yeah,
turn.
I'm going to just bullshit twice. And swing out.
Yeah, that's 11. Yeah, so the opening hand had 3 Blighted Agents, and I brainstormed them back.
I was worried they were invigorates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
although I did draw more of those. The next land was or the next card was a fetch. When you're ready. All right, we're back for game. What is this? 4?
Game 4.
Game 4. I am on the play again. Once again, we have one of these hands that begs us to. Nah, I think this is good enough. It's not ideal, but we have like plays, and if things go well, we can maybe get there. All right, I'll keep it. You good?
I'm keeping as well, mostly just because I'm fancy. So it's nice to have one of those. Yeah. I like to play non-matching cards because it really infuriates my good opponents. Because I really think it takes them more out of their element than knowing that my cards aren't matching and then following it to know that they're playing against me, and I'm that jerk that doesn't play matching cards. So, yeah.
Lead out with a fetch. Go to 19. I'll go find a trap.
And you saw, if you could see Zach's face, you should see the disappointment behind his eyes. He's thinking about this now. He's not thinking about the game. He's thinking about the fact that I don't have matching cards in my deck.
Yeah.
I have 4 different ponders.
I go out of
3
my
different lightning bolts.
I go out of my way to get my Ice Age 4 Ice Age brainstorms altered so I can have a thematic deck, and JC won't even do me the courtesy of
Oh, it's very intentional. It's not a courtesy.
matching his ponders. Some M10 Lorwyn nonsense. Go ahead.
Sweet M12s for
Okay.
half of them. Yeah, that was all. I don't want to die turn 2.
Joke's on you.
I think we can avoid dying turn 2, which is nice. So this is a little bit frightening though, because we can very easily lose a counter war against his deck. So sorry, this is our hand. As much as I want to lead here, and again, this may be just utterly wrong, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I can come back next turn, I can come back later. There's not a lot I'm getting. Well, Berserk's a heck of a card.
Berserk is one hell of a card.
With the exception of the threat he has on board, I know it's crazy to talk about this, but with the exception of the threat he has on board, this doesn't do a lot to keep us alive. It doesn't do a lot to block. They either fly or come under. So yeah, we're going to burn this, and if it fetches a daze or a force, that's okay, because we don't want to die on turn 2. So we're going to go 1 and 1 with the 4 bolt.
Alright, I'll go to 18.
And we'll pass turn.
Now we have a bit of conundrum. Start off with a brainstorm.
Brainstorm is good.
Well, it's a lot of things. What things do we need and what things don't we need? We need this. Probably don't need this. And I think, it's funny, in all likelihood this is probably our best card, but since we can't play it, we'll put it back. I'll play another Glistener Elf. Go ahead.
So we're punished. We should have had our 4 bolt. We'll draw for turn. We draw that. That's solid. We're going to keep that in our hand. We're going to play and fetch.
Sure.
With our fancy, not matching, Misty Rainforest.
A lot of expeditions in there. Those are pretty.
All Luxac JC, all pack popped.
Jeez, how many packs you open? 4?
A few. We've opened a few packs.
I can't complain. I opened between, because honestly, Battle for Zendikar, I think I played in the pre-release. Were you at that release? The one down at the deep?
No.
Okay.
I played at Static.
I played at the 10 a.m. Saturday pre-release at the deep. won it.
Nice.
And my
Humble brag.
Yeah, humble brag. Well, I take it back. I didn't win it. I split with Tom Cassidy. We shared the finals.
Oh, Tom's my boy.
So yeah, although we played it out just for posterity, and I crushed him, so I could have won it. Anyway, I opened a Blood Crypt in my pool. Didn't play it because I was playing just straight black green. After winning, I traded off a lot of the packs for the Tangle Lands, or whatever you want to call them, but I kept like 10 of them. Opened a Windswept Heath. So in the 16 packs of Battle for Zendikar I've opened, I got two expeditions, so I really shouldn't complain.
I like it.
Although I am jealous of your Misty Rainforest.
So here's 2 out of 10. That's insane.
2 out of 16.
2 out of 6. That's still insane. We open like one every box and a half. So I probably fetched a little bit premature. I blame Zach and his high alcohol content.
My delicious beer?
His delicious beer.
So
we've got 2 options here. Again, we said on the first turn we weren't going to play this, so we couldn't play this. Like, yeah, we're gonna go here. We're gonna go here. We're gonna leave some stuff. Actually, we're not gonna leave anything up. We're gonna go here.
Mm-hmm.
And play Death Right.
Sure.
And we're gonna ponder.
Ponder. How many cards do you have?
4.
4 cards.
So Ponder is eminently dazeable and or forcible. I don't think he's gonna force the Ponder. I can see him daze the Ponder.
The thing is, if he's looking for, well, he can't be looking for land. He already played one, and he can't be looking for a counter spell. Well, he could be looking for a counter spell. The thing is, if he's looking for a counter spell, that might mean that he doesn't have one. Nah, go ahead.
Right.
If he doesn't have one, I want him to spin his wheels looking for it and save mine for more important things.
So this is what we pondered into, which is not spectacular, but we've got this bad boy and this bad boy, so we're happy about that. We're gonna put them back like this, and that'll be that. So we draw off the ponder, and then this is our hand, and we're gonna keep our hand as is. We'll pass the turn.
All right, so we draw for turn. So now we have a decision to make. Because of the way we set up our cards, to see. Might have been better to put it back the other way. Anyway, I'm gonna tag with the elf.
No blocks.
Alright, so I think we have to go for it here. Because JC's, at best, gonna have a Force of Will and a Daze, and we can play through both. So, Invigorate?
Yep.
Results?
Yep.
Alright, so you go to whatever.
5.
Something. I'll play the Berserk.
Yeah, and the Berserk we have to force, and then you can probably spell pierce it.
I'm gonna float a mana and then daze it.
Yeah, I can't pick the days.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm tapped out.
So the last card, the card that I set on top that I couldn't use right away was this. But the card I think maybe I should have was this because I'd been able to pay for it. So even if I couldn't have stopped your counter shenanigans, I could have cast this after everything resolved because I'd had 5 cards in my yard with the mana.
Oh, yeah, so for
So
what
if
it's worth, we frankly, on the line there, on our side, we should have forced the Invigorate.
Right, and forced me to... Okay, so...
Because I don't think he could have killed us that turn if we forced the Invigorate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I would have to...
He would have Pendlehavened, not played the Berserk, and we would have taken 2.
Let me think. Well, you didn't block, so let's see. This is on top. Let's go back in time and just do a little bit of analysis here.
Yeah, so
If you had forced the Invigorate,
yeah, so let's say I do that instead.
I'm gonna float a mana, daze, and then when it resolves, we berserk anyway.
Oh, that's right.
No,
So
you're right.
yeah, we
Yeah,
still
no.
can't pick for him. so this is the hand. Pressure, it does not have, but it's a hand. So we're going to keep it, and we're going to scry. That sounds really strange.
Tilt it a little harder so you can see it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, good call. Yeah, we'll keep that on top. I think I've got my cards turned around.
Okay.
All right, and we will lead on a Deathrite Shaman.
It's a good start. All right, that's not exactly the draw we wanted, but we'll start out with our own Tropical Island and Noble Hierarch and send it back.
It's pretty solid. All right, so we're going to draw what we knew was coming. We need a threat. There's no question about it. I'm actually less interested in... So the question clearly is which one of these two to play? I'm actually going to play the Ponder.
Sure.
So we are going to not get dazed, play our Delta, we'll play the Ponder.
Resolves. Sure.
We'll draw 3, or look at the top 3, whatever.
Do the Ponder thing.
We'll do the Ponder thing. Yeah, okay. So it's still not a threat, but we want one of those. We'll take one of them. We'll draw it.
Sure.
And we're gonna pass the turn.
All right.
No threats.
So he's got 2 mana with a fetch land, so he's repping maybe Stifle and Spell Pierce or Stifle and Flusterstorm. He's got a lot of things he can do. He can also fetch any of his lands, which means like Lightning Bolts are live. That's not exactly what we wanted to see. We will play out this Wooded Foothills and our Glistener Elf. No. At this point, you can, I mean, if he wants to force a will or something.
I'm gonna respond to that Glistener Elf.
Sure.
No, I can't. I can't respond to that Glistener Elf. That Glistener Elf is good.
And I think, although I can do these, or I can do this, I think I'm just gonna wait because he hasn't given me a reason to like respond. Go ahead.
All right, so we know what's on top of our deck. We don't want it. We're gonna fetch. We're gonna go 17.
Thinking.
Or 19, whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then we're actually going to take this, which is different. But he doesn't play removal, so we don't need to worry about... Our Deathrite can be, frankly, our red source, so we don't need to worry about that.
Right. Now, it's worth noting, I don't know how much experience you have against Infect outside of playing against me, but there are versions of Infect that run white.
For like a sword. Like
Well, a lot of them have like 3 swords in the sideboard. So like I actually could theoretically with like that on the stack try and fight over your Deathrite type thing, but I don't know. I feel like the white version is a very metagame call.
No, and it's a good call from Zach. And fortunately, I think we would have won that fight, but it would have been tough. Or at least, frankly, it would have ripped his hand apart trying to win it, and we have more threats than he has Infect stuff. Well, no, 14-12. It's pretty close. But I'm actually going to go ahead and eat this Ponder.
Sure. Oh, okay, so I'm at 19 or 18.
Yep. All right, and we got to shuffle. More importantly, we did not want that card that was on top of our deck. So we'll draw for turn. That's what we drew. Pretty bad. Pretty bad that we went ahead and I should have probably brainstormed. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna brainstorm. We're gonna brainstorm.
Sure.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, that worked out. Okay. We don't want Deathrite number 1. We don't want Deathrite number 2, so we're going to put those back. We'll play our fetch. We're going to go ahead and crack our fetch. We just don't want those cards. We're going to 18 ourselves. We'll take the red source at this point. Been a weird game so far. You got 6 cards in hand, so 5.
5.
We could very, very easily be dead next turn, which is not great. So. He's got 3 mana, potentially 4 mana. Frankly, only needs 1 mana because of so we got no graveyard yet.
It's true.
All right, we're gonna probe Bang Life, so we'll go to 16.
We got 4 lands and a brainstorm.
Okay, we can live with that.
This is a suboptimal hand, I will not lie.
All right, so 4 lands, which I just
2 fetches, Trop Forest.
and a brainstorm. So we will potentially fight over that brainstorm if we get the opportunity. We're gonna draw off the probe.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bad. Pretty bad.
So our shields are down. He knows what we've got.
So we don't. I mean, this lets us activate. Do we cast this? Still running? Yeah, I think we do. And brainstorm again.
Sure. We could try and brainstorm a response, but if he's got a lightning bolt, he knows we can't respond and he can kill our elf like uncontested. So I think it's better to wait until we draw and see if we maybe get an answer.
All right, so we're looking a little better.
Brainstorm's a hell of a card.
Brainstorm is a hell of a card. So we're gonna put back. What do we want to draw next turn? I guess we can go back these 2. As crazy as it sounds, we know we can't die next turn. I mean, you can brainstorm, but we know we can't die next turn. So we're gonna put back these 2. I'm gonna put them back in this order. 4 mana. I have 4 mana available next turn. That's all I need. So I'm actually gonna put back in this order. Cool, cool, and pass.
All right, we'll draw for our turn. Pardon?
Yep. Yep, we're good.
Let's see. Force is not an issue. Spell Pierce is not an issue. Not what we want. It's not an issue. Alright, so I'm going to use Noble Hierarch to cast Brainstorm now.
Alright, then we will go ahead and try to bolt off Glistener Elf in response.
Alright, I'll Fluster Storm. 3 copies targeting Lightning Bolt. It's not ideal, but it's better than losing our elf. Now, if he has a Force of Will, he'll be basically out of a hand, which is advantageous. Yeah, it's still a faster clock than his, unless his last card in hand is Gurmagging.
Okay, so we're gonna say Fluster Storm results.
Okay.
And then Brainstorm still in the stack.
Sure.
And then we'll daze the Brainstorm.
Fetch?
We're gonna stifle with that.
Alright.
I guess exile your land.
Alright, so we could have played around Daze by playing a land first. Maybe that was a mistake. You got 2 cards, one of them's a land?
Correct.
Alright, as long as his last card is in Gurmag, it's not absolutely terrible. We'll come in for 2.
Yep. So we got two dues.
We'll play our land investor.
I mean, it makes sense not to play land because you can get rid of them. But I guess
Yeah.
we had 4.
I should have considered a Daze. Daze and Stifle, I guess. Smells like Young Pyromancer.
It is a Young Pyromancer. We'll pass
Okay.
it.
Let's draw. Play out the Misty. And attack for 2.
I'm going to Brainstorm.
You got it.
Alright, we will get our trigger. Trigger first, right?
Sure.
And then draw 3.
Brainstorm resolves.
1, 2, 3. Spectacular? Not really spectacular. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep. So this is it. Now, if we want to be really greedy, there's a different way to keep it. We're not going to be that greedy. Jesus, he's got mana for forever. 3 cards in hand.
3, yeah.
We know at least 2 of them are lands.
Correct.
Okay, so we can't die, which is good. He's got to use humps and the bumps to stay alive. the first Glistener Elf. So, what's the play? Lord have mercy, this is bad. No. We gotta do it like this. We just gotta do it like that. That's too slow. Yep. Alright. I will declare box. So if it's an Invigorate, goes to 5/5. I'm gonna double block here.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah. There's a reason for it.
And good.
Draw for turn. We knew what that was. Maybe we should have gone for maximum greed. We will attack for 3.
I'm at 14.
And I'll pass turn.
Fetch 1 into turn, go 13.
Yep.
Mostly because I'd like to not draw more lands. The top card of my deck wasn't very good anyhow.
Tell me about it. I love Brainstorm when it's the last card in my hand. Ah!
I like Brainstorm when it resolves.
I like it. Hey, yes, Ryan, I'm definitely a white border elitist. I appreciate you watching me get beat by Zach.
Alright, draw a card. That's not a card. But I'll play out another land and send it back.
So we will draw and play this here Delver.
I'm going to fetch.
Yep.
Find my last
12.
Drop and hard cast a Force of Will.
Sure. I'm going to David.
You got it.
Trigger. Get a dude. Whoa, thank God that's empty. Was the reason it was off the spot?
Yep.
And we'll battle for 3.
I'm at 10.
So
or 9.
And I will pass the turn. And I have 2 cards in hand.
Play the elf. Send it back. Hope we don't die.
Trigger.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, that's better than nothing.
Well, Heckfire. And my opponent has 2 cards.
Yep. You know one of them's a forest.
So I play this Misty. Attack like that.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave me at 5. So if one of the cards in hand is a spell, means I can't double block anyway.
That's the hand.
Now I'll take it. Go 4.
Yep. And I'll pass.
I think this top card has to be a Brainstorm or something that finds
I
one.
think you're at 5. Because you were 9, right?
Oh yeah, I'm at 5. Playing
Which actually could matter.
Inkmoth Nexus. Attack for 2.
Yep. Yeah, 1 card that's not a force that I know about, so it can't die this turn, so yes, I'll take 4.
You can't die to become immense, but unless your card is a Force of Will. Good.
Alright. How about a Brainstorm? Nope.
Yeah, I'd like one too.
And nor did it flip my
I would
double.
really like if mine would resolve. So there's 5.
That's 5, that's lethal.
Animate the Inkmoth.
Yep.
2, 3, 4. Man. Let's see. What else do we have? If his hand is just Force of Will blue card, I don't think there's anything we can draw. It actually wouldn't matter what we drew. If it's not, we could draw into a Brainstorm and still have a possible kill with these between these two. He's got a Brainstorm. Yeah. I want the flyer in case this card is a spell that makes up token blockers, so I'll block 2 and take 4. Or 3, I mean, go to 2.
Yep.
And if his last card's Lightning Bolt, it didn't matter what I do. No environments for sure.
I'll pass.
We'll draw a card. Animate Ink Moth. Attack with both. It's your last card of Force of Will.
Oh, you gotta become immense?
Yeah.
I have lands.
All right.
I drew nothing but lands and a young torment.
All right, so we just got incredibly lucky, that's all. All right, so we're back for the post-game analysis. JC, how did you feel about the matchup?
I thought it was a good matchup. Really interactive, competitive games. I enjoyed them. Frankly speaking, it's like anytime you lose as a Delver deck, you feel like you lose because you don't have that other threat. The times where my opponent stumbled, I think it was maybe game 2 or 3 and game 5 in particular, if I just had a threat on board, and I didn't. And I had a way to control the game, but at the same time, all his X spells are so free, and I'm a tempo deck. And so once he gets to a point where he can cast his spells, and a Daze isn't going to get there, I didn't have a Force. Yeah, that's what happens against combo, and it's gonna happen. But really enjoyed the matchup overall. I think I'm not sure if you had 2 really good players on both sides. I don't think it ever goes beyond maybe a 52-53% either direction.
No, and I feel the same way. I think both. In fact, even though it's considered like a combo deck, a lot of times it plays out a lot like an aggro tempo deck, kind of just like Delver. It's kind of like if Delver had a combo finish, that's what Infect is. Mm-hmm. The creatures are small, somewhat ineffective on their own. They need backup. They need spells that protect them. They need interaction like Force of Will, removal, etc. But Infect is just really trading the removal and that sort of creature control aspect for more counter spells and a quicker clock. But it's really just a Delver deck at heart. And I've said many times on the videos and in the past that I hate Delver Secrets because I hate having fugitive wizards that sometimes wild Mikado. So I choose to just play a creature that's bad all the time and supplement him with pump spells. And I mean, Glistener Elf is a terrible, terrible creature. Without Invigorate, he's absolutely useless. But that's the power of the deck. I felt the same way in the matchup. When I had an early threat and some permission to back him up, I felt like I had a good control of the game. Game 5 was sort of an anomaly where we both took too many lands, but the other games were good examples, I feel, of like the person who has a threat plus the backup just has a distinct advantage, and that's typically how the Delver mirrors or Infect versus Delver plays out.
I think the one thing I'd offer here is a little bit different than maybe a prototypical Delver mirror. I think the backbreaker and a standard Delver mirror, unless I'm playing against the traditional Sultai Delver deck, so more against Teamer or Blue-Red, particularly the Blue-Red Monastery Swiftspear, which we don't see quite as much, but it's still a good deck. Mm-hmm. I think Deathrite Shaman is the difference maker, but that's not the case against Infect. It's really it's a bird of paradise.
Right, because the life gain doesn't matter.
Life gain doesn't matter. The life drain really, frankly, doesn't matter all that much.
Right, because the game's over so fast, that extra 2 damage maybe saves a turn some games, but most games it doesn't even cut half a turn off the game.
Like and frankly speaking, one of the things I was doing in Sideboard, and if I had to go back, and I haven't tested this matchup a ton, to be perfectly frank. I was on the other side playing Infect 18 months ago, frankly, before Dig. So it takes you two cycles back, if you will, in Legacy. But what I think I would probably sideboard against differently to test this matchup is maybe think about ripping those Deathrites out and keep more permission. Because what I found out that I was doing is I was kind of trading permission back and forth, or trading information. So taking out a probe, for example, or taking out really good cantrips like a ponder. So I was losing some of the deck manipulation. And again, the last game was a little bit of an aberration. But at the same time, I was sitting there just drawing deck with no ability to manipulate the top of my deck for 4 or 5 turns. So that might actually be something to think about on a go-forward basis. Is does Deathrite need to stay in the Infect matchup? And I think probably not. I'd be interested in trying it.
And I feel the same way. Like as the Infect player, when I see Delver's Secrets, he's sometimes the most feared thing you can play, and sometimes the least. Yeah. Like when I'm looking at a handful of Spell Pierces or Flusterstorms and Dazes, and I'm trying to like out tempo you, he's the worst that I could have. And when I have a handful of threats and a Noble Hierarch, I want you to play Deathrites, because the more Deathrites you have, the more you're forced into chump blocking and just terrible plays. Like, because you're not Jund or you're not Shardless, where you're going to play Jace the Mind Sculptor, something that's really going to punish me with that extra mana. You're you're just playing a guy who helps you get around dazes and maybe accelerates out your Tarmogoyf while leaving Ponder Mana. Like it's not the same efficiency level that he can be in some other decks. So I think I would agree. Maybe on the play you don't need Deathrite as much because you're not trying to catch up.
That's right.
And maybe on the draw he's worth having if that's a swap consideration to make. I don't know how that works with the blue card count for Force of Will and those kind of things, but something worth thinking about. Is there anything from your sideboard you would have changed? I mean, obviously you can't build a sideboard just to play this matchup, but is there, like, because I played a pretty standardized sideboard. This is the exact list I played at the Star City Games Cincinnati Open this past weekend, and it's actually very similar to the list I played at Grand Prix Seattle, and I don't think I would change it much given that. Is there anything you would have done differently with your sideboard?
I don't think so. I mean, I was able to swap out solid 7-8 cards. I think in Legacy, frankly speaking, that's about where you want to be to craft your deck.
Never go much more than that.
Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like if I'm going fewer than that, I either should just be mashing that matchup or I've missed the boat.
Right.
Because I mean, the whole idea is to have a deck that you can recraft after the first game to be, appropriate for tuned for your opponent. So I felt like I was bringing in the right number of cards. Maybe a sideboard choice on my end is probably I should have brought in even more removal just to put more and more pressure.
Sure.
So probably I don't like the Fork Bolt because it's a sorcery speed, but you know what? It makes you burn another card. So probably should have brought in the second Fork Bolt and found room for that. One card that I thought about putting in the sideboard a few different times just because it's cute, for lack of a better term. It does help a lot in the Delver Mirrors, and it was really strong against Abrupt Decay, which admittedly this deck does not play Abrupt Decay, is Divert. And so that's one or two of potential card in the sideboard. It's usually, you see it more often like a Soul Tie sideboard. I think a Divert would probably be a strong card in this deck, but and it would certainly be a strong card in this matchup. I would love to invigorate my own creatures. But outside of that, I don't see a major change.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think I would change anything. I in fact, even though they never came up, I think having the 2 Hydroblasts was perfect. Yeah. Like, I would love to have countered your Lightning Bolts or even a Young Pyramids or something like that. There was actually a time in Game 4, I think, where I could have drawn it, but I chose not to because of whatever the circumstance was. But it could have been good. Is the point I'm making.
So Zach, I got a question for you. So. Sure. Any given Saturday, any given Sunday,
right?
Delver's going to be 35 to 45% of the field.
Typically, it is, yeah.
In whatever version, blue X Delver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lightning Bolt versus, and I know there's that 4-color Delver deck that every now and then shows up, but Lightning Bolt versus Abrupt Decay deck. What would you rather be playing against?
As the Infect player, I would much rather play against the Abrupt Decay deck.
Yeah.
You can't counter it, but the fact that it costs 2 mana and your deck is so incredibly mana efficient. Everything is either free or 1 mana, and even your expensive spells you're okay playing because you can play like a 2 or 3 mana spell and still play 2 free spells to go with it. So like your velocity is just incredible. Mm-hmm. And even though Abrupt Decay is hard to deal with, you have Vines of Aspis. You actually can counter the best removal spell in the format, right? The uncounterable one. The problem with Lightning Bolt is like your soft permission's not good against it. A lot of times they can play around that. And you're forced to waste pump spells instead of Vines of Astwood in a lot of cases. Like, especially if you're on the draw, like you have to burn and invigorate to keep your guy alive. Whereas with Abrupt Decay, they simply wouldn't have the mana to play it probably, or they would hesitate because they would rather get a threat out. Something, those kind of scenarios. I would much rather play like against Soul Tie Delver than against Grixis Delver, or like a blue-white, or a sort of a Jeskai Delver, blue-red Delver, something like that. Every time. Soul Tie is definitely the easier matchup. Anyway, by the time these videos are posted, the Legacy Tour Huntsville will probably already be over. JC, hopefully you're a repeat champion, right?
Yeah, it won't be with Grixis Delver, that's for sure. I'm actually, so a little preview. Well, nobody will see this, but until after the fact. But I know I'm not gonna run it back. I don't know what I'm gonna run this weekend, but
something interesting.
Something interesting. We'll see.
I know you played Mud at the first one, and maybe I've heard rumors of Storm in your future.
Maybe Storm. If I could maybe call Dr. Doug, see if he'll let me borrow some cards. But I don't know. Potentially, probably just I really want to play Chains of Mephistopheles. So that's what I'm going to play this weekend. So I'm going to play a deck with the Chains of Mephistopheles in it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Maybe like a Shardless, just because I hate myself, and I'll play Chains and then recall over and over again. That'd be fun.
Or Judge. And in any event, I hope you guys, or anybody watching this video, I hope you all come out to the event. And if you can't come to the event, at least watch it. We're hoping to stream it live. If not, we'll have
Cool.
featured commentary of the feature matches from the event posted on YouTube. And yeah, it'll just be YouTube. I don't think we can get the videos posted to Twitch. I don't have the permissions to keep my highlighted videos up there that long. But anyway, we encourage everyone to come out and join the event. And if you can't, at least watch it and leave your feedback on the YouTube page.
Tell the people where the event is. The
event is at the Deep Comics and Games in downtown Huntsville. It rotates around the city in different locations, but this time it's at the Deep. They're one of our sponsors, and they have a great play space for hosting the tournament. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Come James Legacy.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.